U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Thursday spoke face-to-face with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov for the first time since Moscow's invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago.
I spoke briefly with Russia's Foreign Minister Lavrov on the margins of our G20 meeting today.
The two diplomats were both at a G20 meeting of foreign ministers in New Delhi. In remarks, Blinken said he urged Moscow to reverse its suspension of the New START nuclear treaty, emphasized that the U.S. would support Ukraine as it fought back against Russia's offensive, and called on Moscow to withdraw its forces.
End this war of aggression. Engage in meaningful diplomacy that can produce a just and durable peace.
Blinken also said he pressed Lavrov to release American citizen Paul Whelan, who Russia accused of spying and sentenced to 16 years in prison. Washington says Whelan is not a spy, and the charges against him are a sham. Russian news agencies reported the Russian Foreign Ministry said Lavrov and Blinken spoke, quote, on the move for less than 10 minutes at the end of the closed-door session and did not engage in any negotiations. Relations between Washington and Moscow are at their worst level in decades. Blinken said that despite these tensions, the two great powers should be able to work together on matters of global security.
I told the foreign minister that no matter what else is happening in the world or in our relationship, the United States will always be ready to engage and act on strategic arms control, just as the United States and the Soviet Union did even at the height of the Cold War.
Inside the summit, the United States and European allies urged the group of 20 nations to keep up pressure on Moscow to end the conflict. Russia, which calls its actions a, quote, special military operation, hit back, accusing the West of turning work on the G20 agenda into a, quote, farce. Host nation India sought to highlight the economic impact of the war as well as issues such as climate change and poorer countries' debt. But New Delhi's efforts to bridge differences and produce a joint statement or a communique stumbled due to differences over the war. The meeting produced an outcome document instead. India has declined to publicly blame Russia for the war and has sought a diplomatic solution while boosting its purchases of Russian oil.
The U.S. Justice Department on Thursday said former President Donald Trump should not be automatically immune from lawsuits over the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. An appeals court is weighing whether or not Trump can be sued over his supporters' assault on the U.S. Capitol. Trump has argued that he was acting in his official capacity as president when he told a crowd of supporters he would never concede the 2020 election and to fight like hell ahead of the congressional certification of President Joe Biden's election victory. The U.S. Supreme Court held in 1982 that presidents cannot be sued over their official acts. But a U.S. district judge had previously ruled that Trump's fiery speech on January 6 did not fall within his official scope of duties, allowing the lawsuits to move forward. Police officers and Democrats in Congress have filed several lawsuits over the riots. While the Justice Department didn't say Thursday whether Trump's speech led to the riot, it told the court that incitement of imminent private violence would not fall within the scope of a president's official duties. A lawyer for two Capitol officers suing Trump said they were pleased with the DOJ's position, while a Trump spokesperson said the court should rule in favor of President Trump in short order and dismiss these frivolous lawsuits.
The jury has been polled and the verdict is...
Disbarred lawyer Alex Murdaugh was found guilty of killing his wife and son on Thursday by a jury in South Carolina. The murder case has gripped the US for 2 years. Murdaugh, who comes from an influential legal family with immense political power around South Carolina's Low Country region, was mostly expressionless as the verdict was announced. Before Thursday, he'd admitted to lying about his alibi and to a list of financial crimes and confessions that dented his credibility. However, even in late stages of the trial, Murdaugh said he had nothing to do with the killings.
I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime.
Prosecutors said Murdaugh shot his wife and son at close range on the family estate on June 7, 2021, to generate sympathy and distract from his financial crimes, which include theft of millions of dollars from his law partners and clients to feed a years-long addiction to opioids and support an expensive lifestyle. One of the strongest pieces of evidence against Murdaugh was a video shot by his son Paul, which placed Alex Murdaugh at the crime scene, the dog kennels on his estate, just minutes before the murders occurred. That contradicted with what he told investigators. Defense lawyers accused law enforcement of fabricating evidence to frame Alex Murdaugh. They motioned for a mistrial, which was swiftly denied. Lead prosecutor Creighton Waters spoke to reporters after the verdict.
It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina.
Murdaugh may face up to 30 years behind bars for each of the 2 counts of murder when he's sentenced on Friday.
Oh my God. What's going on? What just happened? What's going on?
The bombing at an Ariana Grande concert in Manchester in 2017, which killed 22 people and injured hundreds, was the result of a significant missed opportunity by intelligence officials. That's according to the final report of a years-long investigation into the attack out Thursday, which found spies from Britain's security services had missed a chance to prevent it. Ken McCallum, the Director General of the MI5 domestic spy agency, said he was profoundly sorry.
I deeply regret that such intelligence was not obtained. Gathering covert intelligence is difficult, but had we managed to seize the slim chance we had, those impacted might not have experienced such appalling loss and trauma. I am profoundly sorry that MI5 did not prevent the attack.
22 people died and more than 200 were injured when a man detonated the homemade bomb at Manchester Arena, Northern England, as parents arrived to pick up their children following the U.S. singer's show. Inquiry Chairman John Saunders said the spy agency had failed to act swiftly enough.
I have found a significant missed opportunity to take action that might have prevented the attack. It is not possible to reach any conclusion on the balance of probabilities or to any other evidential standard as to whether the attack would have been prevented. However, there was a realistic possibility that actionable intelligence could have been obtained which might have led to actions preventing the attack.
The bomber, 22-year-old Salman Abedi, had been known to the security agency since 2014, had visited an influential jailed militant in prison, and should have been referred to a de-radicalization program, Saunders said. Richard Scorer, a lawyer for 11 families of victims, called the report devastating.
But it is now very clear that there was a failure to properly assess key intelligence about Salman Abedi, a failure to put it into proper context, and, most catastrophic of all, a delay in acting on it. As a result of these failures, at the very least, a real possibility of preventing this attack was lost. This is a devastating conclusion for us.
Abedi's younger brother Hashim was jailed for 55 years in 2020 for encouraging and helping him, while a third older brother, Ishmael, was convicted for failing to appear at a hearing about the attack but has fled Britain.